and welcome to the program, Saltwater Report. I'm Bill Hitchcock. It is December 22nd, Monday, and I have got an extremely large show to get out to you. Lots of information. We got a fishing report. It's going to concentrate around black drum and speckled trout that are being caught right now along the coast of North Carolina. We have viewer catches. Yeah, we have some more viewer catches to get out to you. And also a new segment of viewer comments, questions, and concerns. I had a very potent email sent to me after our mandatory reporting law show that we did that we want to address. Also, lots of news. This is going to be a very news-oriented program because there's a lot of important things that have just happened we want to get out to you. Of course, we have a wind and sea coastal weather report to get out to you. And when it comes to wind in particular, what's been the most constant thing, and is still constant along the coast, is that it is ever shifting during the course of the day. It might be out of the north in the mornings, out of the south in the evening, and vice versa. So let's jump on into it. First, I want to show you something fun, some video here of some whales. This incredible drone video of whales off southern shores just a couple of days ago. Southern shores off the Outer Banks of North Carolina, in case you're watching from out of the area. This video was shot by Johnny Mosteller. He is a realtor up in the area. He likes to capture things up there in the area. So thank you very much, Johnny Mosteller. Now, getting on with the important news stuff. Bluefin tuna at the 2025 annual meeting of the International Commission of the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, or ICAT in Seville. The U.S. secured the largest single-year increase in Atlantic bluefin tuna quota in history. Negotiators won an additional 231 metric tons, or a 17% increase, with the expanded quota taking effect when the bluefin tuna season starts January 1st. So we got a 17% increase this year. So let's see what happens. Striped bass season will open April 1st through April 30th in select portions of the Tar, Pamlico, and Neuse rivers. The 1-month season applies to recreational and commercial fishermen upriver of the demarcation lines, with a 1 fish per person per day limit and specific slot sizes. State managers say a recent analysis found the 2019 harvest closure did not increase striped bass abundance in these rivers, and long-term sustainability is unlikely due to factors other than fishing pressure, including limited spawning. A harvest season will not open in the Albemarle Sound or the Roanoke River, where the stock remains overfished. I tell you what, I'm going to just jump into this, go against the little programming here. Got a wonderful video of striped bass tagging. No, not catch, tag, and release. It's like born, tag, and release. Let's go and take a look at that.
Meet Joel Lauritsen.
Ever since I was a little boy, I loved just catching frogs and fish and being out in the wilderness.
He has been a marine fisheries technician for 9 years, and today he gets to be hands-on with the fish he loves.
So right now we're tagging 3,000 striped bass with little spaghetti tags and making little incisions along one of the lateral lines there, and just popping a tag in, rotating, and flipping it over to the other side of the tank.
Joel is working with several technicians at the Edenton National Fish Hatchery, where they raise 100 to 200,000 striped bass a year.
We're stocking striped bass and raising them at the hatchery because we've had really poor natural reproduction over the last decade or two.
The technicians are tagging the fish to track them as they grow and navigate North Carolina waters.
If there's a river that's struggling, or they have a year where maybe there's a bad spawn, that we can supplement it until they figure out what's going on.
Once the 3,000 fish are tagged, they are weighed, loaded on a truck, and brought down to the river where they are released.
As they grow, they'll be caught by anglers, and hopefully those anglers will call into our tagging program and report the size and where they caught these fish at.
In addition to the external tags, all stocked fish also have a genetic tag, so biologists can take a fin clip and determine if they were raised in a hatchery or if they're wild.
So when these fish get 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, we'll be able to tell how many stocked fish versus how many wild fish may have been produced in this particular year class. So the tagging information is very important for movement and migration, and also, again, lets us kind of know the abundance of how many fish are in the population and how well our stocking and hatchery program is working out.
That video was produced by the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries. There's a lot of striper activity, tagging activity going on, so fingers crossed in the future we'll have striped bass around. Now, marine forecast got some wonderful news. The National Weather Service is expanding marine forecast coverage from 20 nautical miles out to 60 nautical miles offshore along the Atlantic coast. Now, they say it's going to begin somewhere around March 3rd of 2026. Local National Weather Service forecast offices, including the Newport, Morehead City, and the Wilmington, will take over routine forecasts and warnings. This means more detailed forecast and warning products out to 60 nautical miles off our coast instead of just 20 miles. That's extremely good. Now, it's not only speckled trout that have been affected by cold stun events, sea turtles have been too. When water temperatures dip below 50 degrees, it's 40 degrees for speckled trout, 50 degrees, sea turtles can become cold stun. Since Thanksgiving, nearly 200 cold stunned sea turtles have been rescued along the Outer Banks. Much of the work is done by NEST, N-E-S-T, which stands for the Network for Endangered Sea Turtles. It's an all-volunteer nonprofit group protecting sea turtles and other marine wildlife from the Virginia line into the South Nags Head area. This conservation work is authorized by the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. And if you spot a stranded turtle, don't move it. Leave it alone, just like a speckled trout. Call NEST at 252-441-8622. Now, this is something very important that I want to get out to you about posts here at the Saltwater Report YouTube channel. If you've tried to leave, this came up, by the way, a couple of things came up in regards to the mandatory reporting show that we did. So if you have tried to leave a comment here on the Saltwater Report and don't see it, that's not because I deleted it. It's because YouTube removed it automatically. And that usually happens for two reasons: comments with links or hashtags, or comments that contain or closely resemble profanity. I don't delete comments, never have, but YouTube does automatically, which means I don't see it. And as always, if you have a question or concern, feel free to email me directly, billhitchcock@mail.com, and we're going to get into that here real shortly. All right, let's go on and take a look at our wind and sea report, our sea surface temperatures, and our coastal weather forecast. Let's see what's happening. Time for a wind and sea report. It's brought to us by Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks that bring us this information both in real time and forecasted. What you're looking at right here is Monday morning at 7 o'clock when I'm doing this. The wind's coming out of the north-northeast. We're going to go very quickly, and it changes rapidly on a day-by-day basis. Up here in the northern Outer Banks, we have winds around 20 knots. Pamlico Sound around 18, 19 knots. Here in front of the Jacksonville, Swansboro area, same thing. Same thing down here in Cape Fear. Now let's look at this afternoon, around 5 o'clock. What happens? Ooh, the wind dies down. Look at the Pamlico Sound around 11 knots. Up here, northern Outer Banks, 8, 9 knots. Down here in Cape Fear around 15 knots. Now what happens tomorrow morning? The wind shifts. It's coming really almost due south. Here at Cape Lookout, you can see it's around 12 knots. Down here, the Cape Fear area is at 2, 3 knots. Pamlico Sound, 12 knots. Up here in the northern Outer Banks, 8, 9 knots. All right, what about tomorrow afternoon? Well, oh boy, here we go again. Wind shifting, wind picking up. Northern Outer Banks, 22, 23 knots. Pamlico Sound, same thing. Down here in Onslow Bay, pretty much the same thing. Cape Fear, it's a little bit calmer, around 15, 16 knots. Now, what happens Wednesday morning? Well, then the wind shifts. There we go. Pamlico Sound around 18 knots, 15, 16 knots. Outer Banks, Cape Fear, 12, 13 knots. What about Wednesday afternoon? Well, surprise, surprise, the wind shifts again. Coming out of the north around 25 knots. Here in the Pamlico Sound around 18, 19 knots. Onslow Bay around 16 knots. Cape Fear, it's fishable, 8, 9 knots. Now, Thursday morning, Christmas morning, after you open up your presents, all right, the wind's going to be coming out of the northeast, excuse me, around 10, 11 knots. Pamlico Sound, same thing. Down here in the Cape Lookout area, same thing. Cape Fear, about the same thing. What about Christmas afternoon? Wind shifts again, surprise, surprise. The wind's coming out of south-southwest around 20 knots. Pamlico Sound, same thing. It's pretty universal up and down the coast of North Carolina. And we're going to stretch it and go to Friday morning, take a look at what's happening. Okay, what is happening? You can see a bunch of schmegely way offshore here, but you can see the winds are coming out of the north here at the Outer Banks around 16, 17 knots. They're coming out of the east down here in the Swansboro, Cape Lookout area around 9 knots. Same thing, the Cape Fear, and I'm going to push it. Friday afternoon, the wind shifts. Okay, looky there. Winds coming out of the east. 8, 9 knots, 7, 8 knots in the Pamlico Sound. Less down here in the Cape Lookout area, about 6, 7 knots in the Cape Fear area. So let's keep an eye as the week progresses as to what the wind is going to do. Now let's take a look at our sea surface temperatures, and we do have some changes. Let's start back up here in the northern Outer Banks area. You can see the Virginia Beach area is around 49 degrees, but take a look at this. It's warmed up a little bit. As we're coming on down southern shores here, it's around 51, 52 degrees. And speaking of warming up, in the Albemarle Sound, 48 degrees, and we've got 51 degrees. That's warmed up like 2-3 degrees. You can see these little splotchy areas all up and down the Albemarle Sound area. Same thing happening here in the Pamlico Sound. Basically, it's still around 47 degrees, but you get these warmer areas, 48, 49 degrees. Now, right off the beach, like Avon here, it's 57, 58 degrees down here at the Point of Hatteras. 59 degrees, you just barely go off of it, and you ain't surf fishing out here in your boat. Of course you're in your boat. It's around 62, 63 degrees, and it quickly warms into the 70s. Here in front of Ocracoke, Portsmouth Island, down in Core Banks, which I had the pleasure to fly over a couple of days ago, it's like 60 degrees. We're looking at 60 degree water temperature here. And again, around the Cape Lookout shoals, you can see the shoals themselves are around 56, 57 degrees. But once you just get off of them, heading on into the 30-minute rock, all of a sudden it warms up to 62 out here to 1700 rock, going up to about 70 degrees. I wanted to zoom in. Where was that I saw earlier? You can see, like, there's Jerry's Reef, southeast bottoms. It's around 56 degrees, but it just kind of gradiates on up to, is that a word, gradiate? It gradually gets up to 63, 64 degrees. And as you keep on going, it warms up to 70 degrees. Let me pull on out here a little bit more. Again, the shoals are cool. We got those wrecks and rocks and reefs around it, which are highly fishable in the king mackerel zone. Take a look at this. That buffer is still here in front of the Topsail, Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach area, around 55, 56 degrees. But we have some little activity going on here, like at the 18-mile rock at 66 degrees. Working here to the Frying Pan Towers at 66, 67 degrees. Working on out here to the Steeples, which I haven't heard. Well, actually, I just did hear somebody talk about going out to the Steeples, 76 degrees. And this buffer zone pretty much stays the same all the way down to the South Carolina border. It's around 54, 55 degrees. Definitely would like to thank Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks, for supplying us this information, both in real time and forecasted. Go to their website, satfish.com, and see all the things that they have to offer. Now let's go on and take a look at our coastal weather report. Again, if you don't like the weather, just hang on, wait 5 minutes, wait 10 minutes, and it will change. Now, the fishing report, let's get on to it. Salty Waters OBX up in the Nags Head area said, fun time with these gents today, yesterday, catching them trout and pickerels On a bluebird day, notice the color of the soft plastic in Mr. Speckle-eyed Trout's mouth. Outcasts outdoors out of the Swansboro area. These guys are always doing something. Said, I had a blast on the water with Donald and Landon Saturday morning. It took some time, but when he finally figured it out, he started getting bites, and then he finally landed his first trout, about 18.5 inches. Landon would have took home the Nutty Buddy Invitational Championship, but he didn't want it. This captain gives away to the biggest, the most, whatever trout, a Nutty Buddy candy thing. It's evidently Landon didn't want it. She said, so I ate it on the way home from the boat ramp. Oh yeah, Donald got his personal best trout while on the boat yesterday, a nice 22-inch trout. And Christmas music. We listened to Christmas music the entire trip, which I enjoyed. I love hearing stuff like that. Chasing tails outdoors out of Atlantic Beach. They say big wintertime sheep's head for this angler. Tyson caught this 7.83-pound convict today off the rock jetty while fishing a sweeper jig. Now, they don't say which rock jetty because there's one there at Fort Macon. There's one there at Beaufort Inlet on the backside of Shackelford. And, of course, there's the one that most commonly known is out there at Cape Lookout. But he's fishing a sweeper jig. Now, we're going to talk about that in a second. It said, and also they report that shop staff Fred and his daughter-in-law Grace had a great day this week catching black drum and sheepshead at the Cape Lookout Rock Jetty on sweeper jigs tipped with bait shrimp. Now, this is my observation. I'm not that familiar with a sweeper jig, but it looks an awful lot like a Hake Brown hookup lure, which has been out for 30 plus years. All right. OMC Fishing Adventures out of Sneed's Ferry said, had some great help today. Looky there. Yep, they got some black sea bass and some triggers. Always fun. And bottom fishing's been good. It's been very, very good. Southern Run Fishing Charters out of Wilmington Wrightsville Beach area said, Ashley Johnson with a nice grouper from today. This is 2 days ago. It says, can't keep them, but still fun to pull on. Now, I got to show the Von de Kay. I have never met these folks. I have never gone on their boat, but they're always got something fun going on. The Von de Kay out of Carolina Beach. This is yesterday. Look at this video. The black sea bass. Boy, were they catching black sea bass. And in a different video from the same day, triggerfish. So if you got time, go out there and get you some black sea bass, get you some triggerfish on the Von de Kay out of Carolina Beach. It's lots of fun. It's great eating fish. Now, the Jolly Roger Pier out of Topsail said fishing picked up in the afternoon yesterday. We caught black drum, trout, and blues on the pier. And boy, did they. And it's Christmas time. Sunset Beach Pier. No report, just a cool shot. That's why I put that picture up there. And you see the pier and the road, the bridge right behind there. And it's like you can just drive off the bridge right onto the pier. You can't, but I just thought that was a cool shot of the Sunset Beach Pier. All right, Finfisher Charters out of Holden Beach said successful last-minute trip today, and that happens a lot because of the weather. We have availability and bait. Plan ahead and book you a trip. That's something that kind of contradicts itself. I mean, last-minute charter call up because you don't know what the weather's going to do. We've been showing you in the Satfish wind forecast that in the morning it's one direction, the afternoon it's another direction. It's calm in the morning, it's screaming in the afternoon. So those types of charters, if you're thinking about going, call, see if they're available. Now, viewer catches. I like this part. Cheyenne Brooks. She says, my son and I are subscribers and love your show / reports. Thank you very much. We're from Wilmington, North Carolina, and took our annual Hatteras Buxton, North Carolina fishing trip a few days ago. Fished the point. 30 plus years going since 1991. My son JB, who always seems to make the catches, caught 3 beautiful slot red drum, 26 and 2 25-inch fish. We harvested 2 and 1 catch and release. Yes, we filled out our harvest reports of our catches. You always remind us in your reports. Thank you very much, Cheyenne Brooks. Calvin Barker. He says, Bill, listen to this, folks. Says, thank you for all you do to support North Carolina fishing. I decided to get Satfish after watching your reports, and it's a game changer. That's why we do it. So yesterday, Wednesday, December 17th, I took my Grady White Freedom 275 called Not My Problem on its first run to the Gulf Stream. We headed out to the Steeples, hoping for tuna. Yeah, I made comment about that in the Satfish Report. Steeples, hoping for tuna and maybe a wahoo. The blackfin tuna were very cooperative, but the barracuda kept trying to crash the party. You know, all year long, I've talking about the tuna is how if there's a fish that's going to get whacked by something, it's always a tuna. Now here it's barracuda. I think it's been sharks primarily, but barracuda have been whacking the tuna he's been trying to reel in. Said we had a great success with a cedar plug behind a bird on the way back rod. With a Rapala and a planer also productive. Keep up the good work. All us fishermen appreciate it. Thank you very much, Calvin Barker. Now,
viewer questions, comments, and concerns.
John McDonald sent me an email immediately after the mandatory reporting law that we just did last week. This is what John, and by the way, I asked him for permission if I could just read all of this. And John says, "Hey, Bill, I don't want to see North Carolina get screwed like California. I haven't heard you push back at all. Why? Explaining to us is useless. What we need is suggestions on what we can do. Get fishermen together, start a grassroots movement to stop this. California fishing podcasts, fishing clubs, landings, all had info. Everyone involved in fishing got on board. I don't understand why you won't pick up the mantle. I don't have a platform like you. You fish too. Wouldn't you want to help yourself? Thanks for your time. Love your show, John McDonald." It's kind of the old kiss, slap, kiss with that email. Love your show. You suck. Love your show. Oh, just teasing John. Now, I replied to John with this. I said, "John, many thanks for the email. Explaining to us is useless? I disagree. I can tell you that the vast majority of viewers had no idea what process the mandatory law requirement went through in becoming law. Education and coverage are vital. The best thing I can do for you, for everyone, for any and all causes, is to concentrate my efforts in growing the Saltwater Report, both in viewership and subject matter, and making it the best show possible. I have always had an open door policy. I give out my direct email in every show. The show is designed to be a conduit for the free flow and exchange of information. Help me with that purpose. It's doubtful the show will pick up someone else's mantle, but will sure give anything that affects the natural resource and its citizenry due coverage." John McDonald, that's who I sent that to. And this brings up this what I covered. The door's open to anybody. The only premise of the show has to be saltwater related. That's the only premise of the show. So keep that in mind. This is not agenda driven outside of that. It has to be saltwater related. This is not being paid by any group or organization. I'm not pushing for any group or organization. All I'm pushing for is it's saltwater related in the pursuit of truth. So email me with anything, question, comment. The door is open to you. I am most interested. Now, one thing I do want to say about picking up someone else's mantle. Been doing this for over 40 years, and I've made the mistake of picking up other people's mantle. And what happens is you wind up by yourself with that mantle, where the only thing you get from the people you picked it up from is criticism. So no, it's not a good idea. And again, people tend to think that their interest is universal. It's not necessarily so. It's not the masses that are interested in your particular subject matter. It's you and your group. And it's not generally advisable to pick up somebody else's mantle. All right, email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com. Pictures and video of your catches, little, big catches. What the heck fish is this? Your baits, your lures, your tactics, anything is most welcome. If you have a question or comment, send it on in. If there's a topic that needs to be covered, let me know. If you have a fishing tournament, send me the information. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Are you catching on? It just has to be saltwater related. With that said, this is the last show until next Monday. I do shows every Monday and Thursday. This Thursday is Christmas. I'm going to take Christmas off. With that, everybody, Merry Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season. See ya next Monday.